Right now, I'm okay. Right now, in this moment, nothing's hurting me. In my head. Hey everybody, we are here to get help with anxiety right now, and if you are somebody who wants to bring some humanity back into mental health, that's what my channel's all about. If you're new here, hit subscribe. We're gonna help you with anxiety. Let's go. Before we get into the help for you, and I will say you probably have heard some of these things before, so stick with me. I'm sure there are some that you have not heard before. We have to clarify what anxiety is specifically. And anxiety is seeing a fear of something that's going to happen in the future, something that has not happened yet, and it's typically an unfounded fear. There's no reason to be fearing it, especially because we're not experiencing it right now in the moment. So the first thing I would say if you're feeling anxiety is to get back in touch with the moment, get back in touch with where you are right now. Like if I look around my environment, I can see there's nobody around me, nothing's happening to me, I'm totally safe, and let that be your guide to say, you know what, the anxiety that I'm feeling right now, there's no reason to feel it because I'm feeling safe. Now, if you've looked around and you've confirmed that there's really nothing to be afraid of here, then use that. Think about it. Think about that you're safe and remind yourself in your head, I'm safe, I'm okay, nothing's happening to me. Because typically when we're feeling anxious, these thoughts race through our heads and we think like, oh no, this is going to work out bad, people are going to look at me, I'm going to be judged, this isn't going to be good for me, and those thoughts need to be counteracted. So you need to take control and change those thoughts to more positive thoughts and use your environment as evidence. Right now, I'm okay. Right now, in this moment, nothing's hurting me, nothing's threatening my safety, I'm all right. Now, I know when I get anxious, my sense of time tends to narrow down and I only focus on what's going on around me right now or what I anticipate is happening to me in a day, in a month or so. And something that helps me to deal with that anxiety is to remind myself, like, is this really going to matter in 5 years? Is this test that I'm taking going to matter? Is whatever problem I'm having with this person going to matter in 5 years? And a lot of times the answer is no to that. And something else you can do is to go back to the past and think, well, have I dealt with something like this before? Have I gotten through it before? And if you're old enough, like myself, then you probably have experiences to draw from to say, you know what, this might be hard right now. I might be afraid of this, but I've gotten through this and I will be okay. And again, go back to those thoughts and remind yourself, I'm okay. This is okay. I am safe. I will get through this. So right now in the United States, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I think the news is a really good example of how to use these things when we're talking about getting help with anxiety. So if you're watching the news, it can bring up all this anxiety inside of you, and you start to fear for things. But if you take a second and stop and look outside, is it actually happening right outside your door? Are you okay wherever you're watching the news? Like in the room that you're in, is anything happening? Most likely not. So that's when it would be appropriate to think to yourself like, okay, right now I'm safe. I know there's scary stuff going on, but right now I'm okay. I'm safe, and remind yourself of that. And another tool that you can use to help yourself with anxiety is to distract yourself. So if you find you're watching the news over and over again and it's bringing your anxiety level up, just turn the news off and go to something else. It will always be there. You don't need to prepare for something that's coming. You'll be okay. All right, so we've talked about thoughts and we've talked about what's going on with your scope of time. What about with your body? What's happening in your body? When you get anxious, typically your breath starts to shorten, you start to breathe a little bit faster, your heart beats a little bit faster. Like there's all these physiological changes that happen. You might get into like a defensive posture and close down over your chest cavity, which makes it harder to breathe. So things that you want to do to lighten that anxiety and to not feel so anxious in your actual physical body would be to slow down your breathing if it feels appropriate. If you're in the middle of a panic attack, that's not a good thing to do. And of course, anything that I'm recommending here, you'll want to see a doctor about to make sure it's okay for your particular situation. But if you're feeling like you're short of breath, if you're feeling like you're closed down, then open your posture back up and slow down your breathing and do the opposite of all those things so that you can start to feel a little bit better. Now, of course, something else that might help you is to get in touch with somebody who makes you feel safe. Give them a phone call. If they're around, ask them to come in the room and sit with you and talk with you and help you calm down if you have difficulty doing that yourself. Of course, a therapist would be a great person to help you with this. Now, a little caveat to that, you got to make sure that this person that you are seeking help with anxiety from actually is helpful, and they're not somebody who sometimes they help you feel calm and sometimes they don't. You want to make sure they're a good person. Something else which I probably could have mentioned in the beginning is if you're on medication for anxiety and you're not taking that medication, this may be a time to take it. I know sometimes we don't want to take it. It doesn't feel like we should have to take medication, but that's what it's there for, so use it. And of course, see a psychiatrist if this is something that regularly occurs and you feel like you need medication for, or see a therapist if there's something you think that's deeper is going on and this is a pattern in your life. Now, if you need extra help with this, I have some free worksheets over on my Patreon page, free stress reduction worksheets. I also have worksheets on boundaries and self-esteem, so go ahead and check those out. And if you want to support me on my mission of humanizing mental health, you can support me over there on Patreon. I'll put the link up here. If you're new here and you want to keep your mental health in good shape, hit subscribe and hit the bell after you hit subscribe to get notified every time that I do a video. And let me hear from you. Give us your tips on anxiety. Our community would love to know. Leave that down in the comments below. Thank you for joining me here tonight, and I'll see you around.